Hey there, everybody. I am glad to be with you again in this strange format, but I am thinking about you a lot. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're hanging in there. And I hope you're healthy. Hope you're taking care of yourself, taking care of those around you, and that those around you are taking care of you too in this unprecedented and really challenging time. I'm also really grateful for the fantastic prospectuses that you all submitted. I really welcomed the opportunity to read them. The projects are all super smart, super compelling. I'm going to learn a lot from reading these papers as they develop, and I am impressed, like seriously impressed, that you are doing this level of work under these circumstances with everything that's going on, whether it's childcare, whether it's employment, whether it's health, physical, mental. Just know that I am deeply grateful for the work you're doing. With that being said, if you've got questions, if you've got concerns, please let me know. Please reach out to me, to each other, and to the folks in your various networks of support. I wanted to upload a few brief remarks about the prospectus because the revised prospectus is due this week. The deadline on Blackboard is Wednesday, but I encourage you to take more time than that. It's a deadline that is more so I'm not sure exactly what the phrase is that I'm looking for, but something like a check-in point just to make sure that you're staying on target for finishing this project by the end of the semester. If you're a few days behind, a week behind with any of these deadlines, it's not a significant problem, but it's again more of a check-in just to make sure you're progressing in a way that is sustainable. So I wanted to mention quickly too, before I get into it, that I would welcome the opportunity to speak with you by phone this week, if that would be helpful. I spoke with you a lot of you last week. I welcome the chance to do so again. You can speak with me as many times or as few times as you would like. If you could please sign up via Calendly. If you haven't signed up yet or haven't had a chance to speak with me yet, once I get word that you have signed up, I will then send you my cell phone number and we'll have a time to chat about your paper. But I'm also happy to answer questions by email, or if you want to send me stuff that way, please feel free to do so. When it comes to revising a prospectus, it's a revision that's a little bit different than other sorts of revision insofar as your primary focus is just developing what you have and taking it further, clarifying, making it stronger, which I know we do when we're revising under any circumstances, but there are other things that we're trying to do when we revise. We're thinking about organization, we're thinking about what is missing that we need to include, but really with the revision of a prospectus, it's just to make the argument more developed, to articulate it better. And by articulate, I don't mean simply to speak or to express in writing, but to articulate means to put things together, to put pieces together. And that's what it means to be articulate. With you're taking words and you're putting them in a way that is effective, right? But in terms of articulating your argument, you're taking the pieces that you're working on and thinking about and trying to put them together and as I said, develop them and push it forward. I think that there are essentially two main concerns, two main goals for this sort of revision that I'm asking you to do right now. Both of them have to do with specifying, making more specific, more detailed, more precise, less ambiguity, less potential for misunderstanding, excuse me. But it's clear to me from the prospectuses that some of you are gonna have to do just one or the other of these. Some of you have to do both. It's not a problem. It's just a step that will make the paper ultimately stronger. And if it would be helpful to talk in greater depth about either of these methods of specifying, please let me know. I'd be happy to talk through it in greater depth. The first is to specify your topic, the specific issue, claim, theme, idea that you're looking at. And one way to do that is to ask yourself, what precisely am I examining here? You've decided upon a subject matter at this point, a text, a film, something that will be the focus of your inquiry. But what precisely within that subject are you going to focus your attention, and where are you going to direct your analysis? I think free writing is helpful here too. Other forms of gathering are helpful, but articulating precisely what it is you're going to look at and listing that or putting it into paragraph form can be really helpful at this stage, and saying explicitly, like, this is what I want to focus on and why. The second is to specify the theory that you're going to use. Please try with this second prospectus to make explicit what exactly you're going to be looking at. Let's say you mentioned that you're going to use Saidiya Hartman's work. Well, what about it? And why exactly is it going to be useful for this precise topic? Now, if you specify your topic further, you're probably going to need to specify your theory further because the target has changed somewhat. So please think that this form of specification, the specifying of the theory, is an ongoing process and is related to the specifying of the topic that you do. But with regard to the prospectus itself, if you can articulate why exactly this material is uniquely helpful to your project, you're going to be in much better shape going forward. So again, why is Hartman, or why are Hartman's ideas about X relevant to your topic? Not just that there's a similarity or a commonality of something, but how is it going to allow you to say what you think you want to say about this specific thing? And trying to answer those questions will make your perspective stronger. It'll give you a clearer path for how you're going to go forward. And if it's specific and articulated at this point, you can even just put those sentences, those paragraphs into the paper. It's not necessarily work that is going to be behind you once you're done with this, right? In order to do this sort of specifying with theory, my suggestion is to think in terms of takeaways, things that you can take away from, extract from the theoretical, from the sources and translate into your paper. And typically what we do when we take things, when we have takeaways that we translate, is terms or phrases. You could also think in terms of concept. To stick with Hartman, what specific concept of hers are you going to use? And try to name it. You can use their name, their language, or you can use your own. You can quote, but try to keep it really short. Again, a phrase, uh, 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 and if possible, trying to put it in your own idea, in your own words, is helpful. It will, on the one hand, force you to really understand it. Right? It's hard to put something in your own ideas if you get 75% of it, but taking the time to put it in your own words can push you from 75 to 100% of an understanding. But if you also put it in your own words, you're using it. If you put it in your own words, it's no longer in service of what Hartman is herself trying to argue. It's in the service of what you want to argue. So if you find yourself quoting a lot in your prospectus, try to push it toward the specific topic and the specific argument that you want to do. When it comes to quoting, the difference between quoting and paraphrasing, using the original words versus using your own words, often comes down to what you're really concerned with. Are you concerned with the idea and the content of it? If so, try to paraphrase it. If it's the way that it's articulated, if you can't essentially paraphrase it, then you'll want to quote it. If it's something that's poetic in a sense, and theory is often thought of as poorly written and not poetic, but I think some of the stuff that we've read this semester has been quite beautiful. And if you're afraid of losing that poignancy, then quote. But again, thinking in terms of concepts, thinking in terms of terms, thinking in terms of phrases can be helpful here. Now, to bring both of these points together, specifying your topic and specifying your theory, one of the ways that you can approach both simultaneously is to ask yourself, what is it that you want to use your subject matter to better understand? What I mean by that is that your subject matter, your archive, whatever it is that you're looking at, is doing theoretical work about something, and that something has attracted your interest. So if you can start thinking about what it says about that, and then just as importantly, how it goes about saying it, you're going to put yourself in a really good position for doing both analytical and theoretical work simultaneously. What does, for instance, this film have to say about X? What sort of argument is it making about this topic? And then just as importantly, what is interesting to me about how the film presents those ideas? So that second part is the analytical work, when you're looking at the particulars to see how it constructs meaning. And the first part is the more theoretical stuff. What does it have to say about gender? What does it have to say about imprisonment? What does it have to say about labor or faith or whatever it is that is your topic? And again, those two questions I think will be really helpful. What is it saying about X, and how does it go about saying it? If you can try to answer those questions as you develop your prospectus and revise it further, I think you'll be putting yourself in a position to succeed with this project. Last thing I want to mention right now is that if you are planning to look beyond the sources of theory that we've read, if either that material that we've read is not helpful, or if there are theorists and ideas out there that you, whether you know about them or not, think would be more helpful, first of all, you're very much encouraged to do so. You're not in any way limited by what we have assigned and what we read. But what I want to emphasize is that if you are going to look for new material to bring into this, to please let me know if I can be of assistance. The library catalog and various humanities databases are helpful, but it sometimes is overwhelming to look specifically for theoretical sources. So please let me know if I can help with that, especially considering how our library resources are limited at this time. If there are questions about any of this, concerns, you just want to talk through something you're writing or thinking about, please let me know. I'm around, happy to chat at any point next week about this. I look forward to reading your revised prospectuses. And as I said, you're all doing really good work in your projects. I'm super excited to see where they go. And I'll end where I started in saying that I hope you're doing all right in these challenging times. Please know that I and the folks are thinking about you, are impressed by you and hanging in there. And I look forward to talking more with you this week. Thanks.